All right, welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. We are doing the grand challenge of 2026, I believe. Yes, 2026. I'm on my second battle, and it's been a bit of a learning experience. Okay, I definitely appreciate you guys for pulling in and bopping out with us for our second video for our first grand challenge. So let's get into it. Let's jump right in. All right, for the second match, I kind of missed the half of the first turn. So it's just gonna jump right in midway through the first turn. So I started out with Rillaboom and Among Us, and I took out Rillaboom and I threw in Gengar, hoping that the first hit would activate the curse body. So now you see me here, Gengar pretty much cooked up, but he still has a trick up his sleeve that I love to use. So I'm debating on the Among Us. Who do I want to hit with Toxic? So I go for Sylveon, and then I hit the Destiny Bond with Gengar, but they withdrew it, and then they hit me with an Umbreon. So that was a bit of a twist. I wasn't expecting the switch, but boom, Gengar hits the Destiny Bond. So I'm pretty sure somebody was gonna hit Gengar, and it turned out to be Jolteon. Boom. So now we both got one piece off the board. Okay. A bit of a sacrifice, but it was definitely worth it to get the Jolteon off the floor. All right, so we're looking good. It seems like I'm starting to understand how to apply moves. The Among Us hits the Toxic on the Umbreon. So we're extra good now. Why? Because I guess the status effect is going to worsen as the battle goes on. So now that we got that poison effect up, it's time to decide who else we're going to bring in. As you can see, I am very indecisive on who to bring in. I'm feeling Dragonite because I want to use the extreme speed and just get that fast hitting. I'm really considering it, but for some reason, I'm dabbling back and forth, and I decided to go with the Rillaboom. Okay, I decided to go with the Rillaboom. I probably should have waited until that Grassy Terrain wore off. But I seen that he had some moves that was extra effective, so I wanted to take advantage of that while I still could. So using Rage Powder with Among Us, I'm hoping that all those attacks come straight to him. He's pretty bulky. In our first match, he took a lot of damage from a Dragonite, so I'm assuming he can do pretty good. So here we go. He does his Rage Powder, and he's becoming the center of attention. We're happy with that. The Grassy Glide goes, and we're good. Espeon is one hit. Okay. Then he goes for the Among Us and almost takes him out with that one move, followed by a Confuse Ray. So, Among Us definitely did take a lot of damage, but we're good. We're still looking good. Everybody's gonna get that HP buff. Among Us is gonna get 2 because he has leftovers on him. So we're happy about that. We're happy about that. Now we're trying to figure out where to go from here. Okay, we got a Poison Umbreon. And we got a Espeon that's one shot. Okay. So now, as you can see, I'm all right, well, let's try to, I'm thinking about using Spore, but I'm maybe I should just sacrifice the Peace and Coal and Rage Powder. Again, this is my first grand challenge, so I'm still learning. I decided to go with the Grassy Glide again, just to get that Espeon piece off the board. My Among Us is confused, but he still fights through it, and he pulls off the Rage Powder. W Among Us for hitting that Rage Powder again with another Grassy Glide, and we get the Espeon off the board. So we looking good. We got 2 down. He hits us with a Snarl. It doesn't do too much damage, but it definitely does lower our special attack. Good thing we got 2 physical attackers on the board, so it really doesn't harm us that much. As you can see, everybody is still juicing up off the Grassy Terrain. Among Us gets to go a second juice up off the leftovers, so we're looking okay. We're looking okay in our second match. Okay, now they got one last piece, which they got to bring back out their Sylveon, which is who I initially tried to hit with the Toxic. So now I'm looking good. I'm looking really good. I only lost my Gengar, but with that took down a Jolteon. So now I'm trying to decide on what to do next. So I'm thinking, should I try to poison both of them and get that thing going? And I'm really indecisive. So I'm let me just go Rage Powder again. It's been working in the beginning. Hopefully it'll work in the end. So now I'm trying to decide who I need to get off the board with Rillaboom. And I decided to go for Sylveon only because I'm not really too familiar with their moveset. So I'm like, let me try to get it out the way because I know the least about that mon. Hits him with a Grassy Glide, does a good amount of damage. They hit the Among Us with the Psychic, which pretty much takes him out. I'm okay with that. I'm still looking pretty decent because they got a pretty much half HP Sylveon and a Poison Umbreon. Umbreon decides to go for the Snarl again, lowering my Rillaboom special attack. But again, we're only using physical attack, so it really doesn't matter that much with the grassy terrain being in effect. And as you can see, that Umbreon is taking a lot of damage from that poison effect. So Among Us definitely did do a good job. So our grassy terrain runs out and I have no option but to throw in Dragonite. I'm feeling really good about this. So I bring out the Dragonite and I decide to go straight up Extreme Speed. Extreme Speed, let's get the, hold on. We're thinking. We're gonna go with it. I'm pretty sure we're gonna go with it. But we decide to go for Umbreon. And then we try to do the Grassy Glide on Sylveon. But as you can see, I should have went towards Sylveon with the Extreme Speed. Now that I'm watching it back, I'm like, yeah, that's something I should have done. But the Grassy Glide does take out the Sylveon, so we're good. We're totally good. Now this is looking like a win on our end. They hit my Dragonite with a Confused Ray. But again, we're still in good standing. We're still in very good standing. So now that Toxic is still cooking the Umbreon, which leaves us for which should be our final turn. Okay. Boom, we're setting up and we're looking pretty good. Now the real question is, does he fight through that confusion, which he cannot. So that kind of like, it set us back, but the U-turn definitely was more than enough to put down the Umbreon that was already toxic. So as you can see, we brought back our first win in the Grand Challenge. I appreciate you guys for watching. Please follow, like, and subscribe for more, and we'll be back with the next match.